Hello, SamuRais. Welcome back to the dojo. Last time I said that I would think about what we would be looking at this class, and after thinking for a while, I decided upon basically teaching you how to create HTML presentations using Reveal.js framework in R, of course, through Quarto. So this will be a very, very interesting class. Um, there's ways to also create PowerPoint presentations with R, but I think just like in last time that if you can distribute that as an HTML file, that basically means you can reach more people. You don't necessarily need to have the Office suite to open the file, and that is why I basically decided to look into Reveal.js and then create a short tutorial on how to create a quick presentation using it. Now, with that explained, you will have noticed that we have now a new logo, so I'm very happy about that. This channel is basically a work in progress, right? Maybe at some point I'll explain a little bit about the logo itself, and yeah, probably at another time. But I'm happy about that. With that said, let's get to it. Now, a few lessons, well, not a few lessons ago, several lessons back, um, when we were sending an email using R, we created an empty cars R Markdown document. Um, and we'll be reusing some of this code. So let me make this big. But first of all, before we go that, what is Reveal.js? Reveal.js is a framework for creating HTML presentations. It has some very, very cool effects. And basically, we'll be looking at some of this documentation, a little bit of into it through the lesson. So in case you are wondering where you can read more about it, well, it's basically on this address over here. So make sure to give it a look. I won't be able to cover everything there is because it has a lot of customize. You can customize a lot of things in the presentation, but I will be looking into the very, very generals that will hopefully make you create a presentation, and also a way to programmatically create some slides as we've done it before with Quarto and R Markdown documents. Okay, with that said, let's go back to here. So I have here what we used to, the R Markdown document that we used to send by email, right? If you have it lying around, make sure to open it. We'll be copying and pasting some code. If not, that's also fine. I will be going, I'll be copying and pasting the code, but I'll also be making some changes. And if you don't have this file, you can generate it also from scratch. So first thing we need to do is, of course, create a new file, right? We will be creating a Quarto presentation, right? So let's click that. Then let's call it here my first presentation. Author our SamuRai lab. We'll choose Reveal.js, engine need R, and that's it. Let's click create. Now, if your installation of RStudio is new, it should include Quarto, and it should include Reveal.js as part of Quarto. So you won't need to do anything very specific in there. In case you have any problems, please leave a comment and I'll try to help you troubleshoot. Okay, so here we go. So we have some basic stuff here. I won't be running this just yet. We'll wait for that. So let's start working on things. So how do we, well, we basically need to set up our document, right? Load some of our data. And in usual fashion, what I'll be doing is copying some of this stuff here. Well, let's copy the whole thing. And let's call this, let's save it this here in presentation. Reveal.js. Or let's call it empty cars. Empty cars presentation. Okay, there we go. We'll be going to the YAML YAML stands, if you forgot, for yet another markup language. And we'll be going into modifying it here a little bit. So let's remove this. Let's paste it here. We have our things in here. We'll be removing the libraries that we don't need. We will need cable extra. We don't need to load specifically need R. We don't need to do blast to lat either. We will be keeping the parameters, right? So we'll be using some parametric reporting. So let's go back into the main YAML header to do some changes here. So we have title, author, let's add date. And many times before we've used this here. So let's copy that to generate that date automatically. Format will be Revealjs, but here we'll do a space or a hard enter. Then inside Revealjs, which is the format that we will be doing, we'll be adding some stuff such as transition. We'll use convex. There's many other types of transitions. If you want to check into that, I think we can look into slide backgrounds. No, where is it? Creating slides. I think it's advanced reveal. Yes, there you have it. So slide transitions here are quite a few that you can choose from. I'll just be using convex. Okay, so we'll be using convex. Then let's press enter. Let's add some stuff. I'll add here just with a comment. You can also have something called, let's see if it's background transition. You can say fade, for example, but we won't be using that one. I'll just comment it out so that you can kind of have it in there just in case you want to need it. Themes, there are also several themes. I'll use the default theme. If you want to know more about themes, you can also look here into reveal themes, and there's quite a few to choose from. I really encourage you to test these ones on your own. I'll be just using default. Maybe at the end I change it to something else just to see how it looks like and how easy it is to basically change themes. Next, very important, self-contained needs to be set to true. Otherwise you'll end up, when you knit the file, with a folder that contains all the other files, and it won't be self-contained, and that's very annoying because you cannot just simply send the HTML file. Then we'll have menu for our presentation. I'll tell you later what that means. Equal true. You can also choose false to deactivate it. And then finally we'll be doing here params mpg 10, and that should basically leave us with everything we need. So here let's call this empty cars unleashed, let's call it. Let's go some like that. Let's save this. Okay, that's good. I think that should basically handle our YAML header. Now let's go into the content of our presentation. So let's move this chunk of code all the way to the start, all the way to the beginning. Okay, that's good. Then we will be changing here. Let's see if we need to do something. Browns filter MPG. Great. Row names to column, car name, the cars. I think we're good. So if we run this, we should probably get yeah, okay. Let's save this. So I think that's it for here. If we need to do some other change, we'll come in and do it. Actually, let's remove this. So let's just keep it as loading libraries, change your own names to column, and creating a cylinder vector. Okay, that's good. Now let's start creating some slides. So to create a slide, basically you have two hashtags, and if you place one hashtag below then you'll be creating um basically another uh, slide. So let's start and let's call this overview of report. So two hashtags will create basically a slide with some content. If you use only one hashtag, you should be creating like this intermediate or title, let's call it title section. Our title or first presentation slide will be containing title and author and date, right? So you don't have to worry about creating that one now. Let's just focus on creating some of those slides. So two hashtags will allow us to create some slide with some text, right? So I will be typing it like this, overview report, and then we can, same as before, copy some of the code here from a previous file. So let's press enter. To add a bullet point, you do a minus sign, then you paste it, and then I want this to be bold. So the same things you've learned before with R Markdown and Quarto still apply, right? So this should give us a nice color, bold, there in our slide. You can also add transitions not only between slides but also between elements. So let's say that we want a bullet point list that appears little by little. We can do that by adding a space, 3 dots like this. So remember to have a space between the dots. Then you can add another thing, and we'll call this the report contains graphs by number of cylinders, just to say something. And this should basically finalize our first slide. Right now, let's delete some of this content here. We don't need this. But something very, very important is that you can also add presenter notes to your slides. And how do we do that? Well, you type 3 columns, then you do notes. Let's call this speaker notes 1, and then we finalize it with 3 columns, and that should make our notes appear also. We'll go into the details on how you can choose to have that presenter view available. Great. Now we will be going into another slide. So let's call this one cars. We don't need this. And here we will of course be inserting a table. Now we will be using this code over here, so let's just copy and paste it, and we'll do some minor adaptations because the table may end up being extremely large as to basically do anything with it. Okay, so let's see this. We have our formatting function, HTML, yes, fine. But since it's let's add here another pipe here. Let's do a slice and just keep the first 10 rows of our data frame. Okay, then let's see, we might get an error if we run it. Yeah, it's a subscript out of bounds. That basically just means that since I sliced it here, I must be having some sort of reference later on that is just not working. Probably coming from here, and yeah, probably from hero spec. So let's fix that. We can add a pipe here in this slice. 1 to 10, and hopefully that clears it up. Yeah, there we have. So we have our table here already, right? And it's good. You can also, by the way, add a data table to your presentation, but remember, it's a presentation, so you probably won't want people playing with what to show and what not to show on the table. So I really, my personal preference, and I think you should do it too, is to just keep it to a normal regular table that cannot be modified, so that your whoever looks at your presentation can actually be looking at what you decided them to get from your presentation. Don't give them the ability to play with things. I don't think that would be very very nice in the terms of presentation. Okay, now that should have our table, so I will be closing that. Next, what we will do is we'll add some additional nodes here, just because we want to test that functionality. So let's copy that over here, nodes, paste it, and you'll notice that it changed color, so that means that it's basically a different type of node. Let's call it speaker nodes 2, speaker nodes 1. Next, we go into another section. So let's create here, let's create a slide, like some sort of title slide. Let's call this analyzing cars by number of cylinders. And by the way, we set the transitions over here for our slides as convex, but you can also add a different type of transition by slide. So you can specify a global, and then you can also specify a unique for a slide. And to do that, you do it like this. You say colon, then transition equal fade in slide out. You'll probably have to check the documentation for other types of what to type in here, but I'll just leave it as this, as fade in and slide out. I think it looks pretty nice, and I think you'll agree with me once you finally see it. Okay, now we have another slide here, and then here comes the interesting part. So just like we did with our Markdown and Quarto to generate a report dynamically based on the parameters that we have, we can also generate a presentation dynamically, or generate those slides dynamically. We'll have to make some adjustments to the code we had before, but it will work very nicely. So imagine the possibilities of being able to create this, let's say that you're doing every month, because it does happen, some companies don't use reports like Word documents to send out every month, but they might choose to have people present a slide, a deck. And if you need to modify, sometimes those slides are always the same, and then you just need to update some numbers. Well, if you do it this way, you can basically have R do all the heavy lifting of changing the numbers for you and save you tons and tons of time. Okay, so let's go back here and copy our main code, which is this. Okay, now, like I said, we'll have to make some adaptations to this code, specifically because certain things may not work as we think, right? We won't be needing, for example, two ends here, because it'll create additional space. So there's a lot of trial and error if you want to programmatically create slides, right? The other way would be to just create the slides one by one, like this. You know, you add this hashtag or double hashtag, and then you add the content that you want to print one by one. But I think there's a little bit of joy in having those slides be created programmatically, so that's why I'm going to do it, which takes a little bit more time. Remember, you want to keep the results as is, right? So it's very important that you respect these parameters over here, and then we'll go into it. Okay, so first thing we need to do, we need to delete one of the hashtags here to create a slide. So this will be the title of our slide, will be created by this. Okay, next thing, we'll remove one of the ends here for hard enters. Then we will keep these over here. We will remove this cat end here. And then what we will do is we will be typing here, I don't know what's easier. I think it might be easier to just type it from scratch. So here we will create basically the figure caption, right? And we'll be adding some HTML code to do that. Font size, style equal font size, and this should be, I think, let's go for 18 pixels, then a semicolon, yeah, semicolon, finish this like this, then let's add here figure space, and then we can go into a paste 0, and in that paste 0 we will be typing I, which is the counter for our figure, right, that is coming from our loop, a dot, comma, cars with cylinder I, and then we will be doing cars with cylinders here. And finally we need to close our HTML code, span. You can just copy this, by the way, as in, you know, you don't have to really do much about it. Just copy this. And I think that should be it. We have BR, by the way, will give us, it's similar to \n in that it will create a space, right? And it's important that we add those spaces here, otherwise we'll end up in some weird thing. The things won't necessarily align. Okay, so we can delete this one over here. We don't need this one anymore. And next we will also here we'll have to change maybe a little bit of this. We'll have this code be HTML too, so we'll have to do it again. Span style equal font size 18 pixels, but before that let's also add a color, right? Because we had the color here, style equal color green, so we'll be adding that too. So style equal color green, semicolon, space, font, okay. Then we end up with this. We close the span in there, and then we remove the square brackets. And we add in here span. Okay, so let me copy. Actually, now that we have this one, we can just basically copy and paste it a few times. So let's do that. And then let's replace here this text over here. You know, we're doing so many things that I just hope that by the end we run this with 0 issues. It's always a possibility that I will make some sort of mistake because I'm not really testing everything. Let's copy copy this. And then we can just delete it. Okay, so I think that is all for this slide. Hopefully it works. Let's see if it generates something. Oh yeah, there it is. So we have the graphs generated. So that's good. We'll have to see how that looks in the final product. Okay. Next thing we need to do is just add the final slide, which is a hashtag. Thank you for your attention. Okay, we have it there. Thank you for your attention, and that should be it. Okay, so I think we're actually doing quite good on time. It's been 20 something minutes since we started, so that should be it. Let's see. It seems like everything's fine. Okay, let's click here, render, and let's see if it doesn't implode. Okay, we should be having a presentation here, HTML. Now I will open it with Safari. And here we have it. Empty Cars Unleashed, our SamuRai lab, today's date. We have, this is the menu that I was telling you about, where you can have, oh look, we have here a problem. This shouldn't be like this. Okay, I made a mistake there, so let's fix that one out. Let's see what the problem is there. Ah, I see. I forgot to close the quotation marks. Okay, now let's render that again. Once it's rendered, let's go back to checking it out. The menu, there we have it. Analyzing cars by number of cylinders. Now it's displaying perfectly. And basically here we have all our slides, right? We have the overview report, the cars, the analyzing cars by cylinders, and then the thank you slide at the end. Now, I'll just quickly go through the whole slide, right? So let's actually, there's a few options here. If you go to tools, you can see full screen. We can press F. So let's do that. There we have it. Beautiful. And look at those transitions. Pretty cool, huh? I really recommend you to try out some of the other transitions available to see how they look like. Now here you'll notice that we have one of our first sentences, and if we press next, it appears. We added that, remember, in our presentation too. Okay, we need to do something with this table, huh? I think it's a bit too... Okay, we'll have to change this slide because it's too big. So let's go back again to the drawing board. Let's see what we did different. Let's close this, and probably we need to add some styling here. Cable styling. So okay, cable styling, we can say font size, let's make it 18. Oh wait, sorry, this is the wrong file. Here, font size, let's make this 18. Let's render it again, and hopefully this time we get it right. It's part of the job, man. It's part of the job, guys and girls. There we go. Let's make it full screen with F. Ah, there we go. It's nice and good. We see that. But you know, we're missing a here a table. Basically, our table should have a name, right? It's I think it's card data, but it's not the best. Let's label it more properly. So let's close this and let's go back. You can do that. Where can we do that? In caption here. Let's call it table 1 card data. Let's do it again. Let's go back. Overview report, 32 cars. Yeah, table 1 car data, that's good. Analyzing cars by number of cylinders. See, it's a completely new slide because we used only one hashtag. And then see how that works. All the other slides that go below this that are nested within this group, basically it scrolls down very, very nicely. But we made a mistake here on the font size. Not font size, sorry. On the span here. So I'll have to fix that. Let's fix that code. Let's see where we did the mistake. This one's gonna be tricky. Green font size, closing. Let's see. Always have a backup plan here. Let's see what it is. Well, let's just copy and replace this. This always happens, huh? Let's just quickly see if that fixes the problem. If it's done, we'll just copy paste the solution. Yeah, it is working. Okay, so let's go back. Probably what is the problem with this one? Span style, color green. Here it is. Here's the problem. It's this. I had an additional column in there. Now with that, it should work. Let's do it again. Hopefully that solves the issue. Yeah, sometimes you have to, it's a little bit of a pain to learn or do the things the first time around. But once you set things up, then they work pretty well. Okay, that's still not the problem. What else is different? Well, obviously this is wrong. Yellow, red. I think I know what it is. So we have style green, and then here we have, for some reason I did this very, very wrong. Should have chosen font size like this. Font size, not style font size. That's what's causing the problem, I think. Yeah, let's render it again. Sorry about that, guys. It always happens, right? And trust me, it's better if this kind of issues happen so that you can also experience them through me, how to fix them. And let's hope, please, please, please. There we go. Now that yellow is not the best color to look at with a white background, but we don't really care right now. And oh my god, why is it? It refuses, huh? Let's just do it like this. I'm tired. I don't want to waste any more time. Probably, we can keep observing it, and we'll definitely find what the issue is, but it's not worth losing any more time on this. Let's just make this red. Probably at some point you can pause the video and look at the differences, and you'll notice what I did, what I mistyped. There we go. Now it's working perfectly, right? Sorry about that. It took us like what, 7 minutes of just of nothing, right? Of wasted time. So basically our presentation is completely done, and it flows very, very nicely. And to activate presenter mode, you can go here into tools, and then you can see how you can select new things. So let's do, for example, speaker view. Yes. Here you'll load the speaker view. And when you click next, you'll see that the one behind is basically changing, right? They're linked together. So I'll make this smaller so that we can see that. It's changing. You see here that we have our speaker notes. We have our tables and everything. Very, very nice. What's coming up next? What's the current time? How long we've been presenting for? We can even reset things. Our graphs and our thank you. Now, we did this programmatically, right? That's kind of weird that it's that's the first time that happens. But you can also change here. We're going to change two things. We're going to change this to 20 so that you can see that it will generate those automatically. And then let's change theme to, I said we would try at least one theme. So let's go for solarized. Save it, render. Let's open our document. You can already see that it's looking different. And there it is. It's basically different. And you can see that we only have 2 slides for cylinders. We don't have anymore the 8, right? Now it's weird that it's showing like that. It's that's some kind of visual bug. It shouldn't be happening. If we open this with Firefox, I don't think we would see that bug. Just to make sure. Let's look here at Firefox. Yeah, you see, so that seems to be a very strange bug there with Safari specific. Maybe you have it, maybe you don't have it. Hopefully you don't have it. Okay, so that's basically how we changed the theme. We tried several things there with also MPG, but we're gonna make it back to 10, just just because. And to make sure that that works, let's make this smaller. You can see here. Oh, by the way, this number of course also changes, right? It changes dynamically based on what we adjust, so that's also pretty cool. We can see that everything's nice and pretty. And that's basically it. This is how you can generate a presentation. You can add dynamic slides with code, and you can do many interesting things, just like we've been doing with R Markdown and Quarto before. I think this particular lesson will be very useful for people that need to generate a very specific presentation over and over again, let's say every week or every month, with just updating some of the data. So instead of doing the copy and pasting, you can just click run my document, load the data, generate, and you're set, right? You don't have to even remember how to say like, hey, how much the number changed from this day to this day or anything like that. You can just code everything automatically with how we've done in previous times. So let's close this and let's change this one to default. So with that said, this concludes our lesson for today. I hope you enjoyed it. We had some technical difficulties there in the middle. That's basically expected. It's very difficult to get it right the first time. I'm sorry a little bit about that, but hopefully you learned about it. And it's all about troubleshooting in the end. And yeah, there's many more things you can do with Reveal.js in Quarto. So I really recommend you to look at the documentation that is that I showed you on the link, right on this link, and then you'll be able to see that you can do many good cool things here, like highlighting, executable code, latex equations, column layouts, incremental list. We looked into that. Fade in, fade out, swipe left while fading in, and strike, red, slide backgrounds. If you want to change the background color, you can have media backgrounds, you can have positioning of pictures, you can have animations, slide transitions, tab sets, right, where you can have this we didn't go into, but I recommend that you look into. You can also have interactive slides with Leaflet, for example. This, if you remember, we used Leaflet at some point to track the ISS in one of our lessons. That's something you can also show here. You can also have interactive slides where you're moving things around, preview links, the themes that I talked to you about, the easy navigation here on the menu to navigate between slides. You can do some freeform drawing, the point of view, which is basically, if you go here to slide overview, for example, you'll see the whole thing. You have the speaker view, some authoring tools, and many, many more things. So I really recommend you that you look into this because there's lots of cool things that you can do with Quarto and Reveal JS. This is just like a little bit of an introduction for you, but please make sure to look into it. I'm pretty sure that you will find it extremely, extremely useful, just as I have found it extremely useful. With that said, I want to thank you for your time. As always, please remember to like, subscribe, comment, or comment, like, subscribe in any order that you want. Tell your friends I do this so that more people can, be more efficient at work, save time, be more innovative. And I hope it really, you help me reach more people. With that said, that's it. That's the end of our lesson today. Next time, as always, I think it'll be a bit of a surprise. I'll think about what we can look into related to the art world. So please stay tuned for that. If you have any ideas of something that you would like me to cover, please remember to comment on any of the videos, and I'll make sure to try to do a lesson on that topic that you would like me to cover. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I'll see you next time, class. Dismissed.